Hey everyone, I'm Camelfish. There is this huge hole underneath the hotel, but almost everything on the other side is just set dressing. So I started wondering, what would this level look like if the entire area around the cave was actually explorable? Inspired by the cross-shaped layout of the church library, I decided to turn the original one-way loop into a cross-shaped network built around mechanisms and shortcuts. But before we get into my redesign, let's take a look at how the original level was designed. Right after getting off the elevator, we are greeted by this massive, very Lovecraftian-looking cave. The familiar blue pillars and distant lights make it feel like there must be all kinds of things hidden around here. But in reality, aside from the path underneath us, almost everything around us is just decoration. Follow the waterfall and it's not hard to spot the submarine platform down below. From a distance, that looks like an NPC standing there, but when you get closer, there's actually nothing there. Maybe I was just seeing things. The opening on the side is at a pretty awkward angle and easy to miss, so there's a very obvious light there to draw the player's attention. Follow the narrow rocky passage and you'll eventually reach a much more open cave area. The bright kerosene lamp on the right naturally catches your eye and also helps you notice the platform in the distance. There is a torch, an enemy, and some loot. The text on the left hints at the dimensional butterfly. Keep moving forward, and the two torches, illuminated pillars, and blue pickups keep telling the player there is something worth exploring here. There are actually three-dimensional butterflies on the large platform ahead, but no enemies at all. It's basically a deliberate moment to slow the player down and let them breathe. The half-height wall lets the player see the valuable chest in the distance, as well as the person standing behind it. Back on the main platform, follow the kerosene lamp upward to the platform we spotted earlier with a small enemy. The walls here funnel your attention toward the enemy and the pickup behind it. And there's a trap right in the middle, designed to catch the player while they are focused on the enemy and the loot. Hey, I've played this a few times already, so of course I didn't fall for it. Definitely not because of sheer luck. After taking out the enemy, another one suddenly jumps out. I figured, since I'm already at the corner, I might as well check for anything I missed. And then, well, that scared the hell out of me. The dark environment, environmental traps, and 3 regular puppets make for a pretty simple combat warm-up. Once you're done exploring, you can just jump back onto the main path. Keep heading down to the slope, and an elite enemy appears. These puppets are basically all about delayed attacks and fast attacks, and they are extremely aggressive. And the combat space here is pretty cramped, so this is actually a fairly stressful fight. I almost got myself killed. After beating it, you're rewarded with an amulet. This puppet is covered in rust, and combined with the surrounding ruins, it's easy to imagine it as some high-end puppet that was simply abandoned here. I think that's a really nice little detail. Open the valuable chest, and you can also see our good old doggo taking shape across the way. The warm lighting along the path on the other side also tells us in advance that this route can be accessed from the opposite direction later. For now, the only path forward is the one behind the elite enemy. Follow the kerosene lamps and you'll soon reach a fork in the path. On the right, there is some blood, 2 lights, 3 pickups, and a staircase leading downward. That's a lot of visual information, basically telling the player there is more stuff over here. So naturally, let's see what's over on the left first. Turn around, and there's a phone booth. That's pretty much the entire side path. There's nothing else here, and you can just jump back onto the main route from the side. Doing that will also pull the aggro of the 2 enemies below. Take them out and head onto the bridge, where there are 2 more enemies waiting. Since the fight was so easy, I got careless and didn't dodge, so I just ate an entire crossbow combo. Didn't hurt? Drop down onto the lower rock platform from the side, and the chest sitting in the darkness is extremely obvious. It's clearly designed to lure the player down here. Before you even reach the bottom, you can already see the elite enemy guarding the chest. This elite isn't particularly difficult. Watch me absolutely eat it with a spectacular faceplant. There is also a dog hiding in the darkness here. If the player could pull its aggro immediately after dropping down, I think the encounter would be a lot more interesting. You can climb back up here and grab an item that requires a jump to reach. This is also one of the first times Lies of P places an item like this. Thankfully, they don't do this too often. And then we arrive at the boss fight for this area. Unlike the Malum District encounter, the Black Rabbit Brotherhood members appear in reverse order this time. You fight the smaller members first, and the leader doesn't show up until there is only one of them left. So the easiest strategy is to lower everyone's HP first, then take them out one by one, eventually turning it into a one-on-one fight. The second, third, and fourth members don't really have any new moves, and there is less pressure from being surrounded. So overall, this fight is a bit easier than the one in the Malum district. The final boss has clearly been modified. The first phase is basically the same as before, but the attack frequency feels noticeably higher. Maybe that's because in the Malum district fight, there are usually two other Brotherhood members attacking at the same time, which reduces how aggressively the leader goes after you while the others are attacking. Once you enter the execution state, he can also keep attacking repeatedly, just like the tentacle puppet earlier, before following up with a shockwave attack. The whole fight took about 5 minutes, and honestly, trading blows with the boss at that kind of speed feels pretty damn good. After beating the boss, follow the yellow light upward, and you'll find our good old doggo. Since he is a bad guy, naturally, I chose to kill him. And actually, the level had already hinted at a path next to Doggo right from the beginning. So this time, we follow the torches on the left all the way downward, eventually reaching the submarine and completing the level. The entire level is basically a U-shaped route made up of 3 fights: easy, hard, and medium. There is also a pretty obvious difference in elevation between the beginning and the end, which explains why you can see the submarine mechanism below from the Stargazer area. But that raises a question: why is almost the entire surrounding area just decoration? Especially when the cave is so impressive the first time you see it. So I started wondering, what would this level become if the entire cave was actually explorable? Inspired by the cross-shaped layout of the church library, I rearranged the positions of the 3 fights and the boss fight. First, I moved the boss fight directly in front of the elevator. Then I added a drawbridge in the middle. Once a player activates the mechanism, they can walk straight from the Stargazer to the boss area, and the mechanism itself is hidden at the very bottom of the cave. From the left side of the Stargazer, you can also see the submarine mechanism and the NPC, immediately telling the player that the destination is somewhere nearby. But reaching it directly isn't going to be that easy. You first have to head deep into the cave from the right side and all the way down to the bottom to activate the mechanism. Then climb back up to the Stargazer, cross the drawbridge, and fight the boss. After the fight, you take a path behind the boss arena and follow the edge of the cave all the way around until you finally reach the destination. There is just one part of this design that I am still not completely happy with. How do we naturally get the player from the bottom of the cave back to the Stargazer after they activate the mechanism? The easiest solution would obviously be just put down a staircase, but that feels way too artificial. So I came up with a second option. Build a winding side passage at the bottom of the cave that connects to the rocky area above the Stargazer. The player winds through the passage, gradually losing their sense of direction. And then suddenly they realize, wait, how did I end up back at the Stargazer? I think that feeling of, wait, I just went in a full circle, would actually make the level feel much more surprising. From there, you can naturally walk across the drawbridge and enter the boss fight. So how would you get the player naturally from the bottom of the cave back to the Stargazer? See you guys in the next one.